Okay, so this week we're going to look into biomes. Let's first recall a population. What's a population? It's made up of all the members of one species in one area. And a community is all the populations living in the same place at the same time. So the giraffe is a population, and the giraffes, zebras, elephants, and all the other animals are a community. Now the community only consists of living things, which are biotic factors. But of what do you think we should actually think of not only the biotic factors, also the non-living, the abiotic factors in a place, in a region. So this is how we get our ecosystem, by adding all these things together. An ecosystem is composed of all living and non-living things, all the biotic and abiotic. So now we're going to think about this picture, and just the types of ecosystems that might be there. Think about it. And also begin to think of how different factors interact with each other. Now when it comes to the types of ecosystem, there's a variety. Look at the picture at the top right. It's a population of giraffes, followed by an ecosystem of animals on the left, where we can see a whole bunch of zebras, giraffes, and elephants. So it's completely a whole bunch of biotic and abiotic factor, because we can not only see giraffes and zebras, we can also see the rocks and the sand. All these combined are an ecosystem. We can observe the pictures at the bottom too, where the trees, the fish, and the corals are biotic, living factors. Also the ocean, the soil, the land, the water, they're abiotic factors. These also make up an ecosystem. As you notice, I'm talking about some ecosystems that are on land and some others that are on water. So this is a general way to classify them. Okay, so let's look at what a biome actually is in order to be able to classify the ecosystem. A biome is a large region on Earth with specific climate, physical features, and living organisms. Biomes contain the population in the community, which is technically containing the ecosystem and specific biotic and abiotic factors. We can see a huge a huge group of biomes in the picture in front of us. They're all different. Okay, so let's look at the world map in front of us. We can see it's a bit of beige and green and a lot of blue. We can tell blue is the water and green and beige are the land. So we can tell from the map that Earth is 70% made up of water. So we can tell that we have two kinds of biomes, aquatic biomes and terrestrial biomes. Aquatic biomes are related to water, and terrestrial biomes are related to land. Okay, so we agreed that terrestrial biomes are biomes related to land, and aquatic biomes are biomes related to water. During this week, we're going to be discussing terrestrial biomes with all its kinds: desert, tundra, taiga, grassland, and forest. Forests also have three kinds: rainforest, the tropical rainforest, the temperate rainforest, and the temperate deciduous rainforest. There are three main criteria we are going to get into when discussing the differences between all these biomes: climate, soil, and biodiversity. By biodiversity, we're going to be discussing plants and animals that are adapted to live in such biomes. Let's look at the first biome, a biome we're all familiar with, a desert biome. Of course, we all know the climate. It's very hot and dry because it rarely rains. And the soil is sandy as it's loose and very dry. Looking at the biodiversity, animals have already adapted to living in the desert. They've lived in this dry climate, in this hot climate, for a very long time that they've adapted. Animals that live in the desert are like camels, lizards, and snakes. But when it comes to plants, the first plant that ever comes to mind when we're talking about deserts is the cactus. A cactus has spines which protect it from being eaten by other creatures, and has a thick cuticle layer to protect water from escaping. So this is how the plants have adapted into living in such harsh conditions. Okay, so the next biome we're going to discuss is grasslands. A grassland biome is an area where grasses are the dominant plants. So technically, grasslands are large areas full of grass. The temperature in grasslands are very hot and dry in the summer, but very cold in the winter. And the soil in grasslands is deep, dark, and very fertile. This is because of the growth and decay of grass roots. However, when it comes to the plants and animals, the biodiversity in a grassland, there are a few trees like oaks and willows that grow alongside the grass, and animals like bisons, elks, hawks, gazelles, coyotes. These are some animals that can survive in grasslands and are adapted. When it comes to a tundra biome is very cold, dry, treeless. It's extremely cold that the temperature may drop to less than 30 Fahrenheit in the winter, but it can raise to 40 or 50 Fahrenheit in the summer, which allows it to have life because of these moderate temperature changes. Climates in the winter are long, dark, and freezing, and in the summer they're short and cool. When it comes to the soil, it has a layer. It's called permafrost. It's the layer of permanently frozen soil, which is why there isn't any plants in the tundra that have deep roots, because this permafrost prevents deep root growth. When it comes to the biodiversity in a tundra, most of the animals hibernate or migrate in the winter, and plants include mosses and grass. Moving on to the next biome, we're going to go to a taiga. A taiga is a forest biome consisting mostly of cone-bearing evergreen trees. Taigas are located, the taiga biome is located below the tundra biome, and it's the world's largest land biome. The taiga has the lowest average temperature after a tundra, and it's the world's largest biome. So, when it comes to the climate, winters are long and snowy, and summers are short, warm, and moist. The soil is very thin and acidic. When it comes to the biodiversity, plants like spruce, pine, fir, and animals like owls, mice, bears, and sometimes even polar bears, not just brown bears, appear in a taiga biome. So we're finally going to discuss the last biome. The last biome is technically branched into 3 biomes. The forest. The biome we're going to discuss is a forest. There are 3 kinds: a tropical rainforest biome, a temperate rainforest biome, and a temperate deciduous forest biome. When it comes to a rainforest, from its name, it is warm, wet, with a lot of rain. Rainforests grow near the equator. That's why they're called tropical rainforests. And the soil is very shallow and easily washed away by rain. It's so soft. And when it comes to biodiversity, plants and animals don't have to trap water in the same way as they do in a desert, because water is all around. They receive large amounts of rain, so plants there they grow very tall and they have very leafy trees. And when it comes to animals, the largest group of tropical animals is made up of insects. Insects make the hugest kind of animals in rainforests, in tropical rainforests. The next kind of forest we're going to discuss is a temperate rainforest. Temperate, moderate. As it's located between the tropics and the polar circle region, the temperature of the rainforest, this temperate rainforest, is moderate. It does not experience extreme hot or extreme cold. In the winter it's rainy, but it never goes below 0 degrees Celsius. And in the summer it's cool and never goes above 27 degrees Celsius. When it comes to the soil, it's rich in nutrients and minerals, which is why it's very moist. Going on to the biodiversity, forests are dominated by spruce, cedar, and redwood trees. And animals include mosquitoes, owls, deers and bears, ants. So the biodiversity of animals in the temperate rainforest biome is a mixture between a lot of insects and a lot of animals. Finally, the last biome we're going to discuss is a beautiful biome famous for 4 seasons, the temperate deciduous forest. So climate-wise, summers are hot and humid, winters are often below freezing point and are snowy, and plants tend to lose their leaves too. Soil in temperate deciduous forests are very fertile and full of nutrients, so the plants that grow there have huge leaves, just like oaks or maple or birches. And there's also animal biodiversity like snakes, ants, raccoons, and foxes. This way, there's a huge biodiversity in this beautiful biome because of its moderate temperatures and the availability of all the 4 seasons.